Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Nabnerification. Now, I admit I was a little bit suspicious as to whether, filming this video is actually a good idea or not. The main reason is we've already got, one monster puzzle already on Saturday, and then another reasonably difficult puzzle on Saturday as well. So the idea of doing yet another extremely difficult puzzle with 3-star difficulty rating today just didn't sit right with me. But what didn't sit right with me is going a weekend without doing our normal series, which is Equaltiy Cages. And shift the lines a little. In this particular case, it's Equaltiy Cages. So that's what we're doing. This is a 3-star difficulty rated puzzle. It's all about Nabners, and it is about Equaltiy Cages. Now, to try and sort of represent what Nabners are, I've kind of done with the opposite of Nabner, where we have here a digital display in the background. You can see the digits 59 multiple times, and 55. Can I see anything else? Not sure what else I can see. Which are clearly not Nabners. We should Nabnerify it, if such a word exists. Anyhow, anything else I want to mention? Just maybe one more brief thing. So I really have been thinking around, where do I take the channel now that we are into our second year? And right now my thought process is, first off, I'd love to grow the channel. But secondly, I'd love to figure out how do I give back to the community. So I've got a few ideas. I will run a poll after this video is out. So please do let me know your opinion. I'd love to think through some options around how to give back to the Sudoku community. Anyhow, let's take a look at today's puzzle with Nabnerification, Equaltiy Cages 1 to 8 from gUBBLOR. I don't think the grid has anything material on it, other than the fact that they're all Nabner lines with these golden colored. Rules-wise, we've got 3 variants today, and just normal Sudoku rules. And gUBBLOR, not necessarily trying to pick on you at all, but it's so good having relatively few rules that you can actually fit it all on the screen with a decent font size so everybody can see them. Rules-wise, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Then we have, of course, the Equaltiy Cages. So, cages must have an equal number of low digits, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, high digits, such as 6, 7, 8, 9, and an equal number of even digits, so 2, 4, for example, and an equal number of odd digits, such as 7, 9. So that would be a valid set of pencil marks. Now, you may have noticed when I was actually going through the various examples, I never included a 5 because Equaltiy Cages can never contain a 5. gUBBLOR specifically mentioned that cages do not repeat numbers in them. I don't think it's possible given normal Sudoku rules. They're either all in the same box, row, or column. So, I guess, stating the obvious here. Kropki dots. So let's pick this Kropki dot as an example. A black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. So if that's 2, this would have to be 1 or 4. So that essentially one cell is double the other. Not all dots are shown. So if this 2 happens to have a 4 above it, this would be a black dot normally. The absence of it doesn't stop it. So negative constraints do not apply. Last but not least, we've got the Nabner lines. So digits along each Nabner line must be a set of non-consecutive digits in any order and must not repeat. So let's try this. If this is a 2, well, first off, I couldn't repeat it, but also I couldn't have any digits that are consecutive. So 1 and 3 are not allowed. So all the remaining digits, which are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, are allowed on this particular Nabner line. That's all the rules we have for today. So, if you haven't had your fill this weekend of difficult puzzles, well, link will be in the description down below for you to enjoy this one as well. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And I'm really hoping it will be a smooth solve. Sorry, I'm taking it all in. And I'll tell you that I can see a couple of things already that are of interest. First one, let's do the easy bit. Nabner lines. Whenever you have a 5-cell Nabner line, and the rules explicitly say they cannot repeat, that means that these are odd digits. And the best way to demonstrate this is if I write down the number line here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now try and pick 5 consecutive digits. Sorry, non-consecutive digits. So essentially pick 1, skip 1, pick 1, skip 1, and again, and you end up with exactly 5. That's the absolute maximum a Nabner line can ever be if you're not allowed to repeat digits. Now, the other thing to also add is even digits wouldn't work because we've only got 4 of them. So, long way of saying, these 5 cells are definitely odd, and I'm going to use orange for odd and blue for Remban. Remban? Even. Oh, this is lovely. Right, continue in box 7. And the rules of equality cages tells us that there is 2 evens and 2 odds in here, since we have to have an equal number of both. So these 2 cells have to be even. And then specifically, these 2 odd digits that we know are different from these 3, where does Sudoku tell us it is? Well, it can't be these 2 cells. It's got to be in here. And these 2 have to be even. And yeah, I'm not sure I can take this much further without talking about the other break-in that I was thinking about. Right, whenever I see black Kropki dots in equality cages, I immediately get suspicious. Because of the rules around equality cages, they're actually surprisingly restricted when you work through the possibilities. And the fact that there's a Nabner line on here probably will make this even harder. So let's think about black Kropki dots. There are 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, and 4, 8. Now, 1, 2, we can immediately dismiss. Essentially, if I put 1 and 2 in here, I've broken the Nabner line because the 1 and 2 are consecutive. So none of these contain 1 or 2. In fact, neither does this one for that matter, because it's still on a Nabner line. Forget the equality cage as well. Now, if it's 2, 4, this is 2 low even digits. I need 2 high odd digits. That's 7 and 9. 3 and 6. Ah, this is lovely. I think I see where this is going. This will have to be 1 and 8. How would I explain this in a better way? So equality cages, you need to have an equal number of low digits and an equal number of high digits. Now, I can't have 2 or 4 next to the 3, so the other one would have to be a 1. Now I have 2 low odd digits, I need 2 high even digits, so the other cell will have to be 8. So far I've got 2 sets. 2, 4, 7, 9 would work, 3, 6, 1, 8 would work. And I'm going to hope that 4, 8 doesn't work. So if this is an 8, well, I can't have 7 or 9 adjacent to it. So the other option would be 6, and then I've broken it. Because I've got 3 even digits, I'm not going to be able to add 1 odd digit that's equal to 3 3 even digits. So 4, 8 is nonsense. And now it's time to talk about this pattern that you have probably seen in these puzzles quite often. There's a reason why we've seen them so often. And let me see if I can do this. Can I do it? So no, low, high, odd, even. And the reason I'm sort of showing you this is it is going to be very useful in a second. So odd and low, that's 1 and 3. Even and low, that's 2 and 4. Odd and high, that's 7, 9. And then high and even, that's 6, 8. Now, you'll notice that whenever we need to pick, if we happen to pick a pair of digits that are from odd and low, well, I need 2 pairs of digits that are even and high, which can only be the 6, 8. So essentially, whichever cells that you happen to pick, the partners will have to be on the opposite side when it comes to equality cages. And the reason that this is interesting is when we work through the options, we've got essentially 2, 4, 7, 9, 1, 3, 6, 8. You've seen probably my playthrough shifter dots and shifter lines. And essentially, you can get away with having two colors. Typically, I color this one red and this one blue. I can't reuse the blue. And in fact, since I don't know what these are, I'm going to go with purple and I'm going to go with green. And the reason I'm doing so, I don't know what they are. All I know is that these two have to be different sets. Because if this is a purple set, so let's say purple is 2479, this can't be 2479 because that cell can't be any of these, according to Sudoku rules. So if this is green, all of this is purple or 5, so this is purple. This is green, because it's not purple. And therefore this also has to be green because in equality cages, as we just discussed in my table example, they have to be the same color if you have a pair. But in general, even if you don't have a pair, it always has to be the same color if it's two cells. Right. Where do we go from here? This is gonna really open up things. Right. Blue purple, where does it go in box 8? Well, we know that these two cells are not in here because Sudoku. We also know that they're not in there because we have 4 purples looking at these two cells. They can't be purple, we'd run out of purple. So this is blue purple. And blue green. Oh, we've already said orange green is these cells. Yeah, we said that in the beginning. So these two are these two. Blue green now. Well, it can't be this cell. And it can't be these cells. Yeah, they can't be these cells, as in these two, because I've already placed 4 greens. So blue-green has to be inside here. Sorry, that's obvious. Well, what am I struggling with here? Purple, none of these are purple. This is purple, orange. That's got to be right, yeah. Because I need 4 purples. These aren't purple, these aren't purple. This is clearly not purple. These are the only 2. That's a 5. That's our first digit. Only took us almost 8 minutes. And then I've got 2 odd digits. So I need these. And it can't be in here. And they're not any of these, we've just determined. So these are blue, green. And this is another 5. And this has to be an even digit, it's blue. Right, and therefore it's 1368. So let me show you. If this is 2479, I've broken the puzzle because essentially this cell has to be even. And because it is even, essentially we've placed 5 odd digits. So these are the 4 even digits. That's an even digit. So the only option is 3, 6, 1, and 8. And now we know that green is 1368 and purple is 2479. Fantastic. So this is 2, 4. This is a 7, 9 pair. And this is odd digits and purple. So this is 7, 9. This is 2, 4. These are going to be 1, 3, 1, 3, 6, 8. Yep. 2, 4. That's going to be a 6. And this is another 7, 9, and it's purple. Fantastic. Where do we go from here, actually? I mean, we've got digits. Let's just celebrate that fact. This corner doesn't look very useful. So essentially I have another 7, 9, and then 2, 4. And this could be 2, 4, or 9, not the 7. It'll be consecutive with the 6. These cells are known. They're just 1, 3, odd, odd, green. Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to pencil mark here. I've got to look elsewhere. So this is starting to look a little bit attractive. Going back to what I said about the equality cages have to be the same color when they're 2 cells. Well, the fact that I can't have a 1, 3 now means that I can't have 1, 3, 6, 8 in here because I've used all of the 1, 3s in this box. So this has to be purple, where it will be made up of 2, 4, 7, 9. And notice I've got all the 2 4s now done in this column. And the 7 9s done in this column. This has to be green. And it's not a 1 3 green. This is a 6 8 green. And this one will be a 1 3 green. And that will be odd. And this will be even. We can do a bit better actually. If you think, if I put an 8 in here, I've eliminated both 7 and 9 on this Nabner line because they're both consecutive. So this has to be a 6. This can't be a 7. There's definitely a 9 now, which makes this a 7, which makes this a 9. 9 I can type, and this will be a 7. And this will be a 9. Lovely puzzle. It's just, it's incredible how the Equaltiy cages seem to have these really delightful fusions that you just don't expect. This is 2, 4, 5, 8. Can't be 5 next to the 6. Can't be an 8 next to the 9. So that's 2, 4. These are 5, 8. Therefore, this is purple, blue. And then up here we've got, yeah, I mean, because these are not determined yet, so this is going to be quite messy if I try and pencil mark this, similar to what's going on in here. Is it worth it? Whilst I'm answering that question, you see this 1 3 here is actually quite helpful. Column 2, where does 5 go? Well, none of these cells. Not the Equaltiy cage. Not the Equaltiy cage. That's the only place for a 5. That's a 5. And therefore, so I've got 2 greens. So my options are, this is green, and therefore all of these are purple. So I'll end up with 3 purples. Therefore, it would have to be 4 purples. That's one option. And you can see actually with this Nabner line, it forces a bunch of things, such as this would have to be a 2. If I put a 2 on here on this Nabner line, the 1 3 would break. So the 2 would have to be here, and that would make this a 4. So the 4 would have to be here, and then this would be a 7 9 pair, and actually that 7. This is very forced if I can actually figure out the color. And this would be a 1. This would be a 4. This would be a 2. And then this would be 1 3 6 8. Whatever these 2 aren't. So that's one option. What's the other option? What would it look like? Let's just think about this a second. So 9s are not there. They're not here. 9 is on this Nabner line, potentially inside the Equaltiy cage, which would break this. Maybe I need to think about the Nabner line. Right, so let me just remove the colors for a second and try and reverse this. So now I have 3 purples. And in here, I need to have a 1 3 6 8. This is not 1 3 or 6. So potentially an 8. This would be 2 4 7 9. Yeah, it gets very messy, like really messy all of a sudden. How are we for time? So I like the neatness of this. I just don't know if I can prove it. You know, that would end up being, well, it's not 7 or 9. This would have to be 2 or 4. This would have to be the 9. And this 2 would make this a 4, which would make this a 2. So it just really resolves very neatly from here. How do I force this to be green? And it may be worthwhile thinking about this Nabner. That would be 4, that would be 2. Sorry, I'm just going around it in my head, just trying to find somewhere that would break. Let's think about the Nabner line. So if this is green, and remember there has to be a 9 on the Nabner. So there isn't an 8 partner that would break. So what are my options for a Nabner line? So we know that if it's one color, this will be fine. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, by the way. Look, let me show you. So I could hide a 9 in here. I could put a 7 in there. I could have a 4, but then I can actually be cheeky and do something like 1, 4, 7, 9, because this is not an equality cage, so I don't actually have to have a single color. Huh. I mean, one thing about the Nabner line, now that there isn't a 5 in box 1 on the Nabner line, is I do need to have 2 high digits, 2 low digits. That is a fact. If I try and put 3 high digits, for example, 6, 7, 8, and 9, pick 3 that are not consecutive with one another, that's impossible. So I know that the 9 is there. And I know that if this is purple, then it doesn't have to be 2, 4, 7, 9. I could, like I said, 2, 4, 7, 9, and I could do 1, 4, 7, 9. As long as I have 2 low digits that are not consecutive, I'm actually okay. So that's the options if this is purple. Now, if this is green, if this is purple, how would I do this? The 7 would have to be in here. Would it? No. I could do 9 here, I could do 4 here, I could do... Yeah, there's no must anything if it's purple. Five is one of 2 cells. Is it worthwhile thinking about what's going on here, maybe? Try and come back to whatever's going on in boxes 1 and 4 differently? I think it'll be very hard. It'll be very hard. So we know that 2 is not here. What is this cell? It could be 1, 2, 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. It can also be an 8, but not 9. You guys might be seeing something I'm not. All I can see right now is they all look like way harder than what I'm trying to do here. So I'm kind of better off just doubling down and trying to make this work. Just for the sake of completion, 1, 3, 5, 8. And 1, 3, 6, 7. Could see a bit of interplay between them, but not huge amounts. Then this cell, well, it's not 5, 7, or 9. There's a ton of other options that would work. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, not 5, 6, not 7, 8, and not 9. That's ridiculous. This is going. See, because this is not inside an equality cage, I don't have the same magic going on here. In fact, I can actually make it all even. I could do 2, 4, 6, 8. I could have a 5 on it. So this is not that path. Right, I've got to think harder about boxes 1 and 4 then. That's what I need to be doing. So it is very convenient for this to be green and for all of these to be purple. It just places down a lot of things. So the best route forward for me is to disprove that this is purple. Right. Which would mean that this would have to be purple. And in here, I would have a 7, 9, and this would actually have to be a low purple digit. I think this is always a 4. Does that make sense? So when this was green and these all were purple, this set of digits were entirely forced. Now, if it's the other way around, well, I have 2, 4 in here, and I have another 2, 4, 7, 9. So essentially I have a 7, 9 plus 2 of 1, 3, 6, 8. Now, the reason I like this is, well, the 7, 9 needs to have a counter, and it's not in here because I've already placed 3, 4. It would have to have a low digit in here that's purple. And if I place a 2, it will break this Nabner 9. So this is always 4. 2, 4. I like this already. Okay. Not 4. I mean, I'm kind of getting really distracted with not very useful things. So, and the 4 means that this is not a 3, that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 1. 1 is none of these digits now. 1 is in one of 2 places. And that's not a 1. Okay. This segment of the line can't be purple now because we placed 2 and 4. That's got to be important. That's got to be important. Let me think about this. Right, if this is purple, so emphasis, if this is purple, then I have 2, 4, 7, 9 in here. And then this has essentially 1 low, 1 high. This has 1 low, 1 high. And it has to have a 9. And if I place the 7 on here, so it's almost like this would have to be a 9, this would have to be a 2. It's the only way that can make this work. Because if I place a 7, well, the 7, the 9 would force 2 and 4. Because I would need to have... No, it doesn't force 2 and 4. I do remember, yeah, it can do 1, 4, 7, 9. So I could do that. I could do 4, 7, 1, 9, for example. I was so close to breaking. There are no 4s. Sleuth, wake up. 4s. No 4s on this line. Okay. That's big. That's big. Right. And it's no 4s means it's unlikely that it's all purple. Yeah, it's impossible for it to be all purple because I'd have to have 2, 4, 7, 9. So there's definitely green on this Nabner. How much green? See, if this was a 7 rather than 9 that was forced, this would probably be a lot easier. 2 and 4 in here. Tells me, yeah, I can't have 7, 9 here. So these can't be purple. There has to be at least 1 green at minimum. Because if this is 7, 9, well, what high digit am I putting in the equality cage? 6 and 8 will both be consecutive with the 7, 9. So these can't both be purple. And I've shown that if this was purple, that, well, it's not 2, 4. It's not a 4, so it'd have to be 2, which rules out 1 and 3, because they're consecutive, rules out the 4 because it's not available, and it breaks. There you go. That may have gone a bit quick, sorry. If this equality cage is purple, that's the question we're trying to answer, then I need to have a low digit, which can only be the 2 because this 4 is not available, and the 7, 9. Once I place the 2, remember this Nabner line, I need 2 low digits. Well, 1 and 3 are consecutive, and the 4 is not available. So I've broken it. So this can't be purple. This is absolutely green. And therefore, this is all purple. And all of these digits are forced. 2, 7, 9. Love it. Gives me 4. Not 4 or 9. That's 2. That's 9. That's not a 2. There has to be a 9 in here with the 9. Yeah, that's not 9. So this is 1, 3, 6, 8. Can't be an 8. So there's definitely a 6, which means that is 8. That is 6. And this is 1, 3, 9. Because it can't be 8, 9. Breaks the Nabner. Can't be 6. I've already used it. Has to be 7. Sorry, 7 would be consecutive with a 6. So I can't use 7 or 8. Can't use the 5. Not available 2 or 4. This is another 1, 3. So this is 1, 3, 6, 9. That was hard work. It gives me a triplet. It actually gives me another digit. That is 7. And these are 5, 8, I'm going to say. Which makes this a 3. Which makes this a 6. Wow. We do know what these digits are. They are 2, 4, 8. So I'm just kind of thinking around, can I force a 1 and 3 in here? And I think the answer is we've really gotten all we can out of this at this point, surely. And maybe the best choice is for me to start thinking about these boxes, come round and thinking what happens to box 1. How are we doing? 28 minutes. Row 1, we can just pencil in a bunch of digits. This is 1, 4, 8. That's not a 1. It's not an 8. Sorry. 6. If that's 4, this would have to be 7 or 9. It's not. That's 6. This would have to be 1 or 3. It's not a 1. That's 3. That's not a 6. Can't be a 4 consecutive to the 3, so that is a 1. That's not 1 or 6. That's 4. Fantastic. Green again. I mean, I don't know why I'm persisting with the colors. I think we've gotten all we need out of it at this point, surely. And I have another 5, 8 and a 2. And a 2 can't be consecutive to the 3 or the 1. That's a 2. This can't be a 5 consecutive to the 6. That's an 8. That's a 5. That's an 8. That's a 5. That's an 8. These 3 cells are also known. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, I'm going to say. 1, 3, 6, looking at this black Kropki dot. This is looking very suspicious. This is 2, 4, or 8. Definite 4. Have I? Yeah, I've got a 2, which has given me a 4, a 2, 7, 9, and the 1, 3. So the 7, 9 really is the one that's not resolved. Look at this rest here. Oh, hello. 2, 4. That's just a 9. All right, so it is, and these are 2, 4 pair. That's 2, 4, 8 triplet. That can't be a 2, 4. That is 4, 8. That is a 2. That is a 4. These cells are 9 gives me 7 gives me 9. These cells are now 5, 7, 8. That's not an 8. That can't be a 5 next to the 4. That can't be an 8. That's just 7 because of the 4, 8 pair. That gives me 5. That gives me 8. That is not 5. That is not 7. That's another 5. No, it's not 5, 9. That's 9. That's 5. This is 7, 9 pair. 9 gives me the 7 and 9. Look at me doing Sudoku promptly. 9, that's not the 9. That is the 9. 9, this 1, 3 thing is going to get me in trouble. 2, 4, 8 triplet, I can see. Let's use the rest of this Nabner line. No. I don't have much choice, if I'm honest. I kind of have to. Gone then. So, what do we have in terms of options? Actually, the 4, 8 is helpful. Let's just do some quick revisions. So essentially, this Nabner line could be any digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, with the 8, well, 7, 8, 9 are gone. With the 4, 3, 4, 5 are gone. Essentially, the digit and the adjacent digits next to it on either side. So this is 1, 2, 6. And one of them didn't. Yep, 2, 4, 8 triplet. That's not a 2. That's not a 1. That's a 6. That's a 3. That's a 6. That's not a 6. I don't know what I did there. I think that is just 1, 2. That's not a 2. That is a 1. That's not a 1. That's not a 6. This has to be the 6. That doesn't help me with my 1, 3. 2, 4, 8 triplet stays. What are the rest of these? I need 7, which can't be this cell. 7. And wherever this cell is, 2. Then I need a 5, which can only be in here. And then I need a 3. The 3 gives me the 1. The 3, that's lovely. Not resolved. Goodness me. We know what these two cells are, given we've got a triplet. So we know that they are 1. Of course not resolved. Tell me, not a 3, thank goodness. 1 and 7 is resolved. 7, 1, 3, 1. The 7 removes an 8 as a candidate in here. That's a 2, 4 pair. That's an 8. That's a 4. That is not a 4. And we may as well pencil mark these now. Actually, hang on. 3, 1, 3. Right, these two cells are 5 and 8. 5 gives me a 5, which gives me an 8, which gives me a 2. Remember the Nabner can't be a 4. 2, not 2. That's 8. That's 4. I think we're going to solve this. 3, 6. Beautiful puzzle, gUBBLOR. It doesn't have a high rating. And I genuinely disagree with that. I think it deserves far more of a rating than it has received so far. But I mean, phenomenal puzzle. I mean, gUBBLOR has basically been exploring every rule and trying to appreciate the interactions between the new variant and the equality cage. And they just interact in really odd and wonderful ways. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle in the video. See you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.